people generally are so concerned about um, systemic, no, what I mean to say is they're so concerned about the institution of the church,
Yeah.
the life of the church. And I get this a lot. I get a lot of feedback from people saying I'm too critical of the church, and if the church is Christ's bride, and leave her alone, you're harassing her, and blah, blah, blah. And I listen, I hear them, but I'm like, you know what? I love the church just as much as you do, if not more. And therefore I care about when it's abusing its power or taking advantage of people or excluding people or so on. And I think I have not only a right but a responsibility to speak up about those things. But people are very reluctant to even consider the whole concept of systemic evil. There's individual evil, there's private evil where people do wrong things, and that we as Christians have been taught that we need to forgive and forget and move on, and let those things go. Don't get hung up on those things. But the whole systemic evil, where this is deeply rooted in the system, this evil that's deeply rooted in the system itself, people are very reluctant to consider that, to see that. A lot of people don't believe in systemic evil, and don't even think about it. They think of it as personal. I believe in systemic evil, and how we can get so caught up in the power and the privilege and everything inside the church, and take advantage of things, that we become a part of the systemic evil that it inflicts on its people. And so that's what I think a lot of what's happening with, like, say, the Roman Catholic Church, with its priests, or with the Baptist Church and its pastors. I've said this for a long time. There's a lot of people are saying, you know what, you're talking about a lot about spiritual abuse or sexual assault and kids and so on. That's very rare. I'm saying, you just wait. I mean, I don't think it's rare. I think it's happening a lot more than we know. Yeah. And then this whole SBC stuff starts coming out in the news. And I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. That's something, as far back, like when we first started this, that was one of our very first topics. We talked with a woman named Christy, who wrote a book on her abuse, years ago. And just talking with her was so enlightening to me, growing up where everything was kind of swept under the rug. Everything's kept tidy, right? Everything's made look tidy. And she's like, no, this stuff goes on all the time. Yeah. And ever since then, just once you start watching for it, it's kind of like, the syndrome when you buy a red car, you start seeing all the red cars, right? Yeah. Once you're woke up to this, you're like, holy crap, this is a real thing. We've just learned to look over it. We have just learned to gloss over this issue completely. And yet still, it's not a big deal. But this other thing over here, that's just people trying to express their love and trying to exist. No, that's the thing we're going to target. So what about homosexuality do you think has stirred up these people? Where did this come from? Why is this such a big deal? And I think it kind of ties in a little bit even to politics and stuff like that. I mean, there's just a lot of agenda involved in it. But where did this start, in your opinion? Like, why has this become such a hot thing that we have kind of added the if this, then that kind of mentality to?
Well, I think people just love things to be very neat and tidy and compartmentalized and black and white. It's easier to, I think we spoke about this last time. It's easier to control people when you tell them how they can be, how they can live. You're either this or that, you can't, there's no gray, there's no in between. And this is how you're supposed to live your life, and this is how we're going to manage it. It just makes life a lot easier. And, I think people are just afraid of difference and diversity and change. It produces fear. I mean, we're seeing that right now around the world with the rise of, Islamophobia or racism or misogyny or, all kinds of terrible things on the rise or being exposed, because people are just afraid of difference. You know,
Yeah.
the different lifestyles and that is so strange and unusual, you know, to them is very, 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 very hard to process.